Okay, so this is the 2014 analysis prompt. I'm just going to sort of talk my way through an example. In the following letter, Abigail Adams writes to her son, John Quincy Adams, who is traveling abroad with his father, John Adams, a United States diplomat, later the country's second president. Read the letter carefully, then in a well-developed essay, analyze the rhetorical strategies Adams uses to advise her son. Support your analysis with specific references to the text. Okay, 1780. My dear son, I hope you have had no occasion, either from enemies or dangers of the sea, to repent your second voyage to France. I had thought your reluctance arose from proper deliberation, or that you were capable of judging what was most for your own benefit. I should not have urged you to accompany your father and brother when you appeared so averse to the voyage. So he didn't want to go to France. You, however, readily submitted to my advice, and I hope will never have occasion yourself, nor give me reason to lament it. Your knowledge of the language must give you greater advantages now than you could possibly have reaped whilst ignorant of it. And as you increase in years, you will find your understanding opening and daily improving. So he's learned French. Maybe didn't want to. Some author that I have met with compares a judicious traveler to a river that increases its stream the further it flows from its source, or to certain springs which, running through rich veins of minerals, improve their qualities as they pass along. It will be expected of you, my son, that as you are favored with superior advantages under the instructive eye of a tender parent, your improvement should bear some proportion to your advantages. Nothing is wanting with you but attention, diligence, steady application. Nature has not been deficient. So now she's complimenting him. She says he's naturally good, like this river stream, and as he goes through life, he'll just get better as long as he applies himself. Classic mom move. There are times in which a genius would wish to live. It is not the still calm of life or the repose of a pacific station that great characters are formed. Would Cicero have shown so distinguished an orator if he have not been roused, kindled, inflamed by the tyranny of Catiline, Verres, and Mark Antony? So alluding to classical Greek figures. The habits of a vigorous mind are formed in contending with difficulties. All history will convince you of this, and that wisdom and penetration are the fruit of experience, not lessons of retirement and leisure. So you only get good through experiencing things. Great necessities call out great virtues. Spider-Man. When a mind is raised and animated by scenes that engage the heart, then those qualities which would otherwise lie dormant wake into life and form the character of the hero and the statesman. War, tyranny, and desolation are the scourge of the Almighty, and ought to no doubt be deprecated. Yet it is your lot, my son, to be an eyewitness of these calamities in your own native land, and at the same time to owe your existence among a people who have made a glorious defense of their invaded liberties, and who, aided by a generous and powerful ally, with the blessing of heaven, will transmit this inheritance to ages yet unborn. So we're juxtaposing war, tyranny, and desolation to glorious defense of invaded liberties. You owe your existence. A little bit of guilt trip. Not only is it to be one of the least of your incitements towards exerting every power and faculty of your mind that you have a parent who has taken so large an active share in this contest and discharged the trust reposed in him with so much satisfaction as to be honored with the important embassy which at present calls him abroad. I'm assuming that's his dad. The strict and inviolable regard you have ever paid to truth gives me pleasing hopes that you will not swerve from her dictates, but add justice, fortitude, every manly virtue which can adorn a good citizen, do honor your country, and render your parents supremely happy, particularly your everly affectionate mother. Okay, so she's basically calling on him to do better. She's using sort of the classic mother guilt trip. She's appealing to his sense of patriotism, sense of duty as a son, also his sense of pride. So here on my outline that I'm doing on paper that you can't see, I'm writing, she appeals to a sense of guilt because she's saying, I'm your mom, I want you to do these things. His sense of pride, she says he's naturally good, he's naturally talented, he just has to apply himself. She alludes to Cicero, so she's sort of, again, appealing to his pride there, saying he could be as great as Cicero. She juxtaposes these concepts here, war, tyranny, blah, blah, blah. I already talked about that. Doesn't she talk about God somewhere? Oh, scourges of Numa. Oh, yeah, maybe not. This is sort of an appeal to his patriotism. And then she wraps up again with that classic do it for your mom appeal here, which we're going to officially call an appeal to his guilt. So I'm going to go over here to my document. I'm going to start typing. And I'm just going to sort of talk my way through this as best I can. Okay, so in the beginning, we're going to say Adams he's which president? Does it say? I think he's country's second president. Asking him to rise to his natural potential and serve his country in its time of okay. Yeah. Adams appeals to her son's sense of duty to family, pride in himself, and duty to family, pride in himself, and that doesn't sound good. Pride in himself and responsibility to his country. In order to get him to apply himself to his fullest potential. Classic mom move. Okay. Paragraph 1. In the first couple paragraphs here, she's sort of apologizing to him. It sounds like she sent him to France and he didn't want to go, but he went anyway. So we're going to call that duty to family. In the first paragraphs, Adams opens by acknowledging her son's trip to France with his father that... Oh, what?